I've put about a pint of paraffin into the Honda engine just as an engine flush. I'm just going to drain that out now. Then we'll get that side cover off. Little setup for draining. Here's where it goes all over your wrist. Take the filler plug out, let some air in. Better. Let's see what it looks like in here. I'm going to replace these screws with new. Back in a moment. Yes, that didn't have a lot of servicing. We'll get it cleaned up. That's not too bad for a spray down with some brake and clutch cleaner. It's fairly clean in there. What I'll do is when I run it, I'll do an oil change after it's just warmed up a bit and drop the oil again, and then we'll put some fresh in it. I'll take the other side off now. Tap on that one. Right, I've just changed my jacket to get a bit warm there. These are definitely tighter. Go. Oh, that one isn't. Impact driver. Right, that was a stuck one. There is always one that needs the treatment of beating it up to get it out. Just start to turn. I'll just soak that with a little bit of penetrating oil while I go and have a cup of coffee. Come back to that. Right, that's him out. Right. There's a tough little one. It's been a few years since I've done one of these. There's a little bit in there. So that's our two side covers off for painting I can get them sprayed up now, and I've got the cover for there. Get that sprayed up. Right, I'm just going to set about and change all these screws on here for some new ones, and then that's kind of the bottom end done, so I won't bore you with changing screws. That's all of those M6 by 50 machine screws replaced. I do tend to put a little bit of that ceramic anti-seize compound on, not copper slip or things like that, because that can encourage the corrosion between the screw and the aluminium, whereas that ceramic compound kind of insulates it a little bit. So that's just my preference. What I might do now actually is there's a few more screws on the top end to do, and I think I'll probably get the engine in, whether that's today or not, I don't know. And then we can put the side covers back on once the bike's in the frame. Close. A wiggling from that side. There we go. That's a big step forward. There is. I can work on that from that point. Still got to change a few of these. I've got some new head nuts and a couple of bits, but yeah, that's a big jump forward. Good. I'll get this bolted in, and we'll move on. You're going to be getting bits of this Honda rebuild in piecemeal fashion. Keep diving in and doing a little bit more. I did a lot of plating last year, I think it was, and looking through the bits now, I'm a few bits short that must be in my other boxes. I'm just working from an original Honda parts manual there for reassembly, on which bolts went where, because it's quite a while since this came to pieces. But we've got the engine in. I can't remember if I said that on video before. I think I have. I've gone with polishing the covers. It's they're coming up all right. It's quicker and easier, and there's no waiting for paint to dry. I'm just getting the engine bolted in now, so that's going to be a big leap forward. There are two filters and this Honda oil filters. One's under this little there it is, under this little cap here, little gauze filter, a spring in there, and then the other one on the drive side is this centrifugal filter on the end of the crankshaft with a little gasket on it, and there is the cap off it there. There's three little Phillips screws, and on the end for the crank oil feed there's a little plunger. It's actually called in the book a pressure relief valve, but I think it's an oil feed more than anything, because it comes up around the inside of the cover on this groove here that feeds the head, and through in the case that way as well from the oil pump somewhere in their gallery there, I think, up that way, something like that. Yeah, progressing there. I'm going to I think I'm going to probably take the clutch apart and just clean them plates up, because it's been sat there for I don't know how long, and they'll likely be stuck together just to save any surprises when it first goes into gear. Filter cleaned out and the clutch cleaned up. That's all nice and free now. I'll oil it up a little bit before I assemble everything, and we'll do it with some 10W30 oil in this. The Haynes manual of the period said GTX, which was I believe 2050 at the time, which was far too thick for these. Probably contributed to a lot of wrecked cylinder heads and camshafts because of poor oil feed to the top end through the very tiny little oil galleries up there. So no, 1030 or 1040 was actually recommended in the manuals, which was probably at the time only available from a Honda dealer, but most people wouldn't have done. No, naughty Haynes manual of the period. I don't know if I've shown this before on any of the videos, can't remember, but I'm just doing a little bit of plating again for the Honda. There's a few bits I've missed as I've got along, so at the moment the bench is set up with the plating equipment. That's the clutch arm there. That's one I definitely did miss and do need to do badly to get that clutch cover side on. And in there I've got some battery strap bit off the carburettor, just in the plating bath at the moment. Then over the other side, once the plating's done, I've got the passivating, and we just go for blue passivate on these. This kit I've had for donkey's years. Classic Plating is the company this came from, and it's worked very well on all the other stuff. So if we can see that down the back of there, the Honda clutch cover is just partly rubbed down, ready for polishing. And once we've got the plated parts to reassemble into it, I'll better get that back on. Another little bit of progress, the ignition switch is back on and the horn is back on. I bought a pattern horn which wasn't quite right, so I had to make a little stainless steel bracket there that sits it in the same position as the original on the bike. There's some of the previous plating attempt, last year's efforts. That worked out reasonable for what it is. It's a bit fiddly, but it's better than sending away and risking losing a load of parts, which has happened to me in the past.